Hey there, all my little Napon friends. It's me, ya boy. I'm never going to do that again, don't worry. But yes, at long last, it is indeed Heropon time. It's been long enough, you've been waiting long enough. It's finally time to finish making the Xenoblade 1 party in 5th edition D&D with the absolute legend himself, Riki. I'm gonna assume you've watched all the previous videos before this, so you've seen the rest, you know how this will go, let's just do it. When it comes to making Riki, the question of race is actually a surprisingly hard one. I'm not using homebrew, remember, so making my own custom Napon race, or using one of the few I've seen online, or even reskinning some other homebrew is off the table. Now there are several official races that are significantly shorter than humans, and some even count as a size smaller in gameplay, but Riki is a bit shy of 2 feet tall, which is significantly shorter than even the shortest of those. That means that no matter what, we will have to reskin or reflavor something in order to make him fit at all, so I'm free to basically pick and choose whatever short race best suits the build I want. This means that we are going to go with the Hill Dwarf. One of Riki's major gimmicks in gameplay is having an insanely high HP stat, and this race-sub-race combo will really help with that. His highest hit die this entire time will be a D8, and he's actually with D8s the entire time, so we'll have to take every bonus we can get to at least get him as high as possible, if not fully surpassing the rest of the party in HP. Even with this, a maxed out con, and a feat we'll take later down the road, it will still require some really good hit die rolls to beat the Rhine I made back in that video. For ability scores, as always using the 5e standard array, we'll put the 10 in strength for +0, 13 in dex for +1, con 14 +2 from race for the +3, intelligence 8 for the -1, wisdom 12 +1 from sub-race for +1, and charisma 15 for +2. Strength, I gave a 10 because we're not going to use it that much. Dex, I want him to use dex weapons. Con, we're actually going to be putting more points into con than anything else for him, so the main stat of his class is actually not going to be maxed out. Intelligence 8, he and Rhine are definitely on the same level there, and that's what I gave Rhine. Wisdom 12 +1, I mean, he is clearly wise. That's largely based on his parenting and the whole one really good conversation with Dunban, so he clearly has more wisdom than intelligence. And charisma, I mean, everyone loves him. Even the people who hate him actually love him. He's Riki. He can't not have a high charisma. Yeah, I know there are odd numbers here, but this was the best I could get to work since the +1 in wisdom isn't really going to help in the long run no matter what I do. Charisma will at least be fixed later on, but not until after we get con up a bit higher, because HP. From race, he will pick up some other nice bonuses. He gets Dark Vision, advantages on saves against poison, and resistance to poison damage, which makes sense, he's an extremely durable Forest Dweller. He also gets some weapon and tool proficiencies that really don't suit him, and the sub-race also gives him an additional hit point per level, which is the real reason I chose that one specifically. For background, we will once again go with Folk Hero, the same one I used for Dunban. None of the backgrounds really fit him super well, so I went with this one because it makes the most sense. I would have gone with Charlatan since his legendary hero status is a fake, but that one is more about being a con man, and we've gone over Folk Hero before with Dunban, so yeah, we'll just skip that over a little bit. Class, I talked about this a long time ago, but he will start out as a Bard. You have no idea how much I wish Gnome worked as his race, because if you think about it, Riki really is just the original version of Scanlan Shorthalt. But anyway, Bards are the jack-of-all-trades magical class, and aren't completely boned when it comes to weapon fighting, so I think this works very, very well for Riki. Starting in this class, we'll give him some weapon proficiencies, light armor, dex and charisma saves, and most importantly, a pick of any 3 skills. I took Insight because I feel like that works, he's decent at figuring out people. Performance, basically because he's a bard and that's what bards do, plus he dances. And Sleight of Hand, because he is still sort of a tricksy guy, and he has Yoink as his talent dart, so he is kind of a thief. Weapon-wise, biters obviously aren't a thing in the real world, or even in D&D, so I'll just use a reskinned Rapier since I want him to be dexterity-based, and that is, I believe, the only dex-based martial weapon he starts out proficient in. Anyway, going into level-based things, at first level, bards start out with their spellcasting. They are charisma users, which is why I made that a major stat in addition to him being Riki, and they get the most variety out of any class when it comes to spell list, but they do have a limited number of spells learned. There is Unearthed Arcana that allows you to swap one out on a long rest, but that's unofficial, so I'm not using it. So he will be limited in what he can use, unlike the Cleric from last time. He's going to start with 2 Cantrips and 4 first level spells. For Cantrips, I went with Vicious Mockery because that is the signature cantrip for bards. You insult enemies and then they take damage, it's amazing. And Friends because it's a decent, relatively easy to pull off espionage tool and sort of fits his personality. As for level spells, Sleep is more or less one-to-one with his bedtime art. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is probably the most on-brand for Riki spell in the game that isn't similar to any of his arts. Heroism is sort of similar to Hero Time, and Featherfall does affect up to 5 people, but it could mimic him using his wings to slow down while falling. Yes, I know it doesn't stop fall damage in-game, but shut up, it does work in, like, one cutscene. Also at first level, he gets the signature ability of all bards, Bardic Inspiration. As a bonus action, he can grant any ally in range an additional die they can add to ability checks, attack rolls, or saves for, I believe, a minute until it fades away. I'm sort of treating this as a mix between Hero Time and Happy Happy's buffs. This die starts out as a d6 at level 1, it gets expended when you use it, I don't think I made that clear before, and will gradually grow in size as Riki grows in bard level, so it just gets better and better over time. Expended uses come back after a long rest, and he can use it as many times equal to his charisma modifier, so only 2 for now, which isn't great, but I don't know, battles don't really last that long. It is his only bonus action right now, but that'll change eventually. Second level will give him Jack of all trades. This is what makes bards the best skill users in the game. If he doesn't already have proficiency or expertise in a skill, Riki now adds half of his proficiency bonus to it, rounded down, anyway. Yeah. He also gets another ability, not as useful but still nice to have, Song of Rest. If he plays an instrument, you can easily style this as dancing, during a short rest, allies who are present and spend hit dice to regain health now regain 1 additional die of HP. This also starts as a d6 and it works its way up over the levels, just like Inspiration, although it's a couple levels behind when it goes up a step. He also gets a new spell. I took Cure Wounds because he is of course also a healer. Third level, Expertise. He gains expertise in 2 skills he's proficient in. I chose Performance and Sleight of Hand somewhat arbitrarily. He also gets second level spells. Hold Person Paralyzes, it's like Behave. And he also gets his Bard College, so it is subclass time. I went with College of Valor. Yeah, I know it's bad. Yeah, I know they literally made College of Swords in an attempt to make a better version of it later on, but Swords doesn't fit Riki as well, and honestly none of the others give abilities that I think make sense for him to have, or double dip on stuff I was already planning on giving him, so Valor just works the best. Bonus proficiencies: medium armor, shields, and martial weapons, so I guess he did some skill linking. He also gets Combat Inspiration. Creatures who still have an inspiration die from Riki can now use it to increase weapon damage, or as a reaction to increase AC against an attack. This is a lot like tension bonuses, so it's even more of Hero Time than it already was. Fourth level, ASI or Feat. Increase Con by 2 for that sweet, sweet HP. He also gets a new cantrip. I took Prestidigitation because it's always good to get your class's general use one. New spell, Detect Thoughts, doesn't really fit any of his gameplay abilities, but he can hear the voices of the dead, so this is close-ish. I'm not going to actually take Speak with Dead later though. Fifth level, Inspiration die becomes a d8, and he also gets Font of Inspiration. All inspiration uses come back after a short rest too, so it's nice, especially since his charisma isn't very high. Also, level 3 spells, Stinking Cloud is very, very lurgy. Also, I'm going to roll some hit dice now. Okay, it is after midnight as I'm recording this, so I'm going to try and figure out a way to roll dice onto a hardwood table as quietly as possible. But, yeah, in case you were wondering, I'm back at school, but I got a different place this semester. Got like an actual mini apartment to myself. I also have a poster of rockets. Don't worry, the shelf poster's in a different room.
but, like, I figured, hey, this is a living room type area. Why don't I roll the dice like I'm actually playing D&D with friends, but, like, pretend there are other people there. Anyway, here's 4d8. Yeah, that's good rolls, which is good, because I need very, very above average rolls to get anywhere close to Ryan HP-wise.
At 6th level, we get Countercharm. You can spend your action to start a performance that gives you and nearby allies advantage on saves against being frightened or charmed. It's not that great, especially because I think it goes away after that turn. He does, though, get a good thing, extra attack from his subclass. Also gets a new spell. I took Hypnotic Pattern, it's a Confuse, he can confuse Mechon. There you go. 7th level, nothing but 4th level spells. Greater Invisibility is a lot like Playdead's aggro reduction, so we take it. 8th level, ASI or Feat, give +1 to Dex and +1 to Charisma to increase both modifiers. New spell, Dimension Door doesn't really fit his abilities, but it's a favorite of mine, so we're doing it. 9th level, Riki sneaky so he become rogue. Pick up Thieves Tool proficiency and 1 skill from the rogue list. For multiclassing, I took Intimidation because that's really, really funny. He also gets expertise in 2 more skills. I went with Survival and Insight this time, and if we stayed in Rogue long enough, he'd get 2 more expertise options from that, in addition to 2 more he'll get later on in Bard, which would give him 2 more expertise slots than he has skill proficiencies. Which is hilarious because they go to waste. There's no ruling for that. Like, if you get more expertises, can you just pick 2 skills you're not proficient in and get proficiency? Can you get expertise? I don't know. Thankfully, we're not running into that problem because I'm smart and avoided that on purpose. Also, that would be way too many rogue levels. But for 10th level, we do stay in rogue. 1 more level just for cunning action because it's good and I don't really need Bard's 19th level thing. Also, die rolling. Let's go.
Damn, here he is, back at it again with the dice. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this. What am I doing with my life in general? I don't know. I record these after I record the actual video, so... This is me when I'm, like, really loopy after already talking for an hour because of how many outtakes I always have. Oh, yeah, look at that. That is actually still above average, so we take those.
For 11th level, we are back to Bard, and in Bard we shall stay. So just keep in mind, every level from now on, just subtract 2, and that's going to be the Bard level that he's going to be at. We get a Song of Rest buff here, as well as 5th level spells. I took Mass Cure Wounds, because it's healing, but better. It heals multiple people, and Riki can heal multiple people, so it makes sense. 12th level, Bardic Inspiration buff, as well as our last cantrip. Mage Hand, it's good. I couldn't really find any Bard cantrips that worked beyond the first 2, so I just kind of arbitrarily added more. He also gets expertise in 2 more skills. I took the other 2 things he's proficient in, because I didn't have any other choice. So now he has expertise in all of his proficiencies, which is kind of stupid. And then we get one of my other favorite things about Bards, Magical Secrets. He can learn 2 spells of a level he can cast from any spell list of any class. I took Fireball and Cone of Cold. Weird, I know, but that is Freeze-Innate and Burn-Innate, really, so, you know, makes sense. 13th level, nothing but level 6 spells. Eyebite has 3 possible effects that all sort of fall under his arts. Some of them are upgrades on stuff that I already took, some aren't, but it's still useful. 14th level, ASI or Feat. Max that con out, baby, you know what to do. 15th level, Song of Rest gets a buff, and we get level 7 spells. I took Teleport because, hey, someone in the party has to be able to fast travel. No one else has anything like that, I don't think. 16th level, last subclass ability is Battle Magic. When he uses an action to cast a spell, he can make 1 weapon attack as a bonus action, which is decently useful, I guess. He only has 3 inspiration spots, so he's gonna run out eventually. And although he does have Cunning action, that's not always useful. And he doesn't have any bonus action spells, so it's actually not awful. Also, I didn't need to take Warcaster, because he doesn't have too many concentration spells, and his con is already through the roof, so, you know, it's not really relevant to this, I just thought I'd bring it up. Also, though, we get Magical Secrets to Arcane Boogaloo. Hero's Feast is a fantastic buff that also fits both the hero side and the eat-a-lot side of Riki. And Investiture of Stone has some tanking capabilities, plus gives a couple of roly-poly-like effects. For 17th level, we get a Bardic Inspiration buff and 8th level spells. I took Power Word Stun, because hey, look at that, it's Riki, it's the Paralysis Man back at it again, and this is just even better than Paralysis, really. 18th level, ASI or Feat. Take the Tough feat to gain an additional 2 HP per level, so without having any constitution or rolling any dice, he already is getting an additional 60 HP on top of whatever he rolls, which is kind of amazing. 19th level, Song of Rest buff, and 9th level spells. Psychic Scream doesn't match any of his art in effect, but I can imagine him using it sort of like the Tantrum art. 20th level, this is the big one, Magical Secrets 3 Electric Boogaloo. Holy Aura is a paladin spell, it's basically the ultimate hero time effect, and then, of course, you knew I was going to do this from the beginning when you saw I was making him a bard. Wish is by far the best spell in the game, limited only by what the DM allows, so of course the strongest character in the series is going to get it. And let's, kinda take away the significance of that by rolling dice again.
Haven't calculated overall HP yet, so I'm not 100% sure, but basing on how they weren't all 8s before, this is going to be the roll that really makes or breaks whether or not Riki is going to pass Ryan in HP. I won't figure it out at all, really. Just check the character sheets if you really want to know, I guess. Oh, that's a 1, that's not good. There's a 2. There's some 8s in there, but there's still a lot more below average than I'd like, so I'm gonna say that we might have failed on this one, but maybe next time I'll make Riki a barbarian instead, because that sounds equally hilarious.
And that will finally do it with Xenoblade 1 in D&D, so watch Definitive Edition come out next week somehow, and then, wow, look at that, they added 3 more party members, which, hey, I'm not complaining, I like making these videos even if no one watches them, and also I like Xenoblade 1, so I wouldn't complain if they added more characters to it as long as it wasn't done poorly. But anyway, about the future of this kind of video. I know nobody watches these, I kind of don't care because they're fun to make, so I'm going to keep doing them, but there's probably going to be a bit of a break. First off, what game would I do next? Xenoblade 2, I basically have to homebrew the blade system from scratch. Xenoblade X doesn't really work at all in D&D. The best thing I could think of was maybe use Cyberpunk for it. I feel like that might be decent, but it doesn't fit X perfectly. Xenosaga I'm not even finished with yet, but Xenogears I think is doable. I could definitely make the on-foot characters in 5e, I know as a fact that's a thing I can do, but Xenogears is also about the gears, so I would want to make the characters robots as well. But what am I going to do with that? Well, I'm not sure. I know that there are a bunch of mech-based tabletop RPGs, so what I'm thinking is I'll make the on-foot characters in D&D, but I'll make all the gears in one of those games. So if anyone has suggestions for that, let me know, but I'll see you next week, or later this week for Xenogears recap maybe, but definitely next week for a video that's going to make a lot of people mad, and I'm very excited to do that. So until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.